Do you freeze when it's time to speak French? Anxiety creeps in, your hard-learned vocabulary words vanish, and you feel frustrated. Believe me, I've been there. First of all, why do you freeze when you have to talk? Well, you are probably stressed about not being able to understand the person you're talking to. You also have to recall vocabulary, then make grammatically correct sentences, and deal with the fear of being misunderstood, making mistakes, or being laughed at, all the while trying to answer as quickly as possible. The result? You panic, your mind goes blank, and you are disappointed in yourself. But here's some good news. There's a way to fix this. Today, I am here to share a proven method that will help you go from freezing up to speaking French with confidence. This is all about preparation, practice, and reflection. Whether you are a beginner or a more advanced learner who wants to overcome the fear of speaking French, this method will help you improve your speaking skills and boost your confidence. Step 1. Picture the conversation. You need to prepare each interaction in advance in order to make it as smooth as possible. By preparing what you're going to say in advance, you are not stressed by time because no one is waiting for your answer. You have time to think about vocabulary and sentence structure. You can look up words you don't know and check verbs conjugation. Let's say you are going to the bakery tomorrow. Yes, I said tomorrow. Remember, we prepare in advance. Tomorrow, you are going to the bakery. Ask yourself, what vocabulary might I need? For example, what am I planning to buy? Un pain au chocolat. Un Paris-Brest. Une baguette. What phrases might I need? For example, how can I order these products? Je voudrais un pain au chocolat. What questions might they ask me? For example, what might the baker ask me after I told him or her my order? Et avec ceci, what should I reply? Je vais prendre un Paris-Brest. What else could I possibly need? I know, politeness is very important in France. Bonjour, s'il vous plaît, merci, au revoir. Now, write down complete sentences, keeping them short and simple. Short, simple phrases are easier to remember and say, especially under the stress of a conversation in a language other than our mother tongue. For example, instead of saying Je voudrais une baguette, un pain au chocolat et un Paris-Brest, s'il vous plaît, try Je voudrais un pain au chocolat, s'il vous plaît. Je vais prendre un Paris-Brest, s'il vous plaît. Une baguette, s'il vous plaît. Then check that your sentences are correct using a translator. Yes, I insist, you should only use translators for correction. This is the only way to understand how to build sentences, which in time will allow you to form sentences on the fly. Then picture and write the entire conversation from the moment you enter the bakery to the moment you leave. Monsieur, bonjour, je voudrais un pain au chocolat, s'il vous plaît. Vous désirez autre chose? Je vais prendre un Paris-Brest, s'il vous plaît. Et avec ceci, une baguette, s'il vous plaît. Il vous faut autre chose? Non, c'est tout, merci. 10,20 €, s'il vous plaît. Tenez, madame. Voilà pour vous, monsieur. Merci, au revoir, bonne journée. Je vous en prie, monsieur. Bonne journée à vous aussi. You need to treat every upcoming interaction as a mini performance. The more you prepare, the more confident you'll feel. In 2013, Beyoncé performed for 12 minutes at the Super Bowl halftime show. She rehearsed for 3 months to make sure everything would be perfect. Step 2. Memorize your lines. Now you need to memorize your sentences, the one you are going to say. Think back to how you memorized your lessons as a child. What worked for you? Here's how I would do it for me. Number 1, write. Let's say I need to memorize these 6 phrases. I start by writing all 6 phrases in my notebook. Yes, I did say write, not type. Writing helps memorization. So I write the phrases in the order in which I will use them and 1 phrase per line. Then I write those same 6 phrases again several times, about 3 to 5 times. Number 2, read aloud. I read aloud each phrase multiple times. Yes, out loud is important because that's how you will say them. If you are not sure of the pronunciation of a word, check it in Youglish. Number 3, hide and recall. I cover the phrases with my hand, then I try to recite the first phrase from memory. Then I slowly uncover the phrase to check for mistakes. If I make a mistake on the first phrase, I go back to read aloud. If I get it right, I move on to the second phrase. And from there, if I make a mistake, I start again from the first phrase. I keep going until I can say all the phrases correctly from memory. Number 4, quiz myself. At random times, like while doing the dishes, I try to recite all the phrases. Then I check that I haven't made any mistakes. Remember that you need to treat every upcoming interaction as a mini performance. The more you prepare, the more confident you'll feel. Anyone who gives a speech in public, even in their mother tongue, rehearses it over and over again to make sure they know it by heart and that their speech is flawless. Step 3. The actual conversation. There is absolutely no reading in this step, so do not bring your notes. You can only use phrases you've memorized. When you are in the conversation, remember 2 things. First, it's okay not to understand everything. If the baker says something unexpected, don't panic. Listen for keywords and respond as best as you can. For example, if they ask, Vous voulez un sac? And you don't understand, you can say, Je ne comprends pas. Vous pouvez répéter? They may repeat it or simply show you the plastic bag, in which case you can say oui or non. Second, adjust your expectations. One important mindset shift. There's always a gap between what you want to say and what you can say. You might want to express yourself as you do in your mother tongue, but you need to work with the vocabulary you know. If you can't say something, try using synonyms or rephrasing your sentence. You can also try to mimic something. It is better to mimic than to switch to another language and be disappointed in yourself. For example, you are buying a loaf of bread and you don't know how to ask them to slice it. Try Vous pouvez le pain, s'il vous plaît? Using your French in real life is the fastest way to improve. Remember, it's all about practice. The only way it gets better is just by doing it. Step 4. Reflect on the interaction. This is the most important step, so make sure you do it well. After the conversation, when you get home, reflect on the interaction. What went well? What could you have done differently? Did they understand you or make you repeat certain words? If so, it could be a pronunciation problem. Check the pronunciation of these words using Youglish. Did they say something you didn't understand? Yes, they showed you the plastic bag. Look up the French word for plastic bag in the dictionary. Did you miss any word? Yes, you didn't know how to ask them to slice the bread. Look up the French word for to slice in the dictionary. Then add new short, simple phrases for your next interaction in your notebook. Also, remember how you felt during the conversation. Happy, proud, angry, frustrated, and let that feeling be the fuel behind your success. Let it motivate you to do as well or better next time. This step is the most important as it allows you to celebrate wins, acknowledge struggles, and refine your technique for future conversations. This is the step that will enable you to gradually improve your speaking skills. So, why this method works? This method works because the phrases you've memorized allow you to have quick, successful conversations in French. These short, positive interactions will give you more and more courage to speak in French, which will gradually build your confidence. This is exactly the method I used when learning Portuguese. And within 5 months, I was confident and conversational in Portuguese. And make sure to check out this video to improve your listening skills and finally understand spoken French. À la semaine prochaine!